What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business and Biceps. And you better wake your ass up, because on today's show, we're going to talk about living below your means. Damn. Is that a thing, John?
It's absolutely a thing. I think if we had the benefit of having elders in our life when we were younger that explained it to us, I think that's just a bonus, but most people I don't think did. And hopefully we can shed some light for all you young dudes and young females out there on how to do this, because this is truly the key to amassing wealth. Okay, this isn't the go get, this is amassing wealth. So I think this one's gonna be interesting. Maurice?
Yeah, same thing. This is actually strategy, and this is long-term strategy. And this is the strategy I think this is the cornerstone of who I am and how I've gotten to the position that I am and how I keep on excelling. But there's a lot of character. There's a lot of there's a lot of character tied to this. There's a lot of being comfortable with yourself and not keeping up with the Joneses. And I can't wait to unpack it. And I'm telling you right now, this may run a little longer just because I think that this has significant value to the listeners. And this is not like just a motivational hype video. This is something that you can take and like apply to your life and ask yourself with your own checks and balances, am I living inside or outside my means?
Love it. John, it's brought to you by Robinhood. Tell them about how good Robinhood is.
Robinhood is the undisputed king of online and app trading. They disrupted the marketplace by coming in and eliminating trading fees. So when you buy stock, when you sell stock, the whole industry was built on buying and selling fees and commissions. Robinhood charges you zero. It literally is the only place to trade online. Go to the App Store, get the Robinhood app, or go to our custom URL, Cory, which is
biceps.robinhood.com, and redeem a free stock such as Apple, Ford, or Sprint. Do it right now, right now, right now. Robinhood.
Oh, triple right now. That's like right
That's
now,
serious.
triple or squared plus one.
That's triple G, homie.
Triple G, homie. Gennady Golovkin, dude.
Yes, I knew you'd like the boxing reference, John.
There you go with my broken thumb. Yeah.
All right, without further ado, I think it's time for Fosco's World. Mo, take it away.
Let's go.
Take it away, Mo.
Hey, I'm not going to say nothing about height or weight because I'm interested in hearing this topic.
Yes.
Come on. Hey, then get 2 Chainz to fucking introduce me. Come on, man.
He's never going to let you live down the 2 Chainz shit, bro.
Hey, well, he can keep on going with that one, but I'm excited for the listeners.
Me too.
My man Donnie Fosco is coming down the runway. He's like, I got you running down the runway like the WWE wrestlers when they stand at the top of the, when they stand at the top of the thing that
top ropes.
No, when you come out the back of the locker room.
Yeah, like Triple H. I spit water in the air and it's like dun 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 dun. Yeah,
that's about right.
That's how I feel right now, dude.
And then you jog into the ring, and you know how they do the slide on the bottom rope.
Oh, dude, I'm sprinting. I don't jog. I'm sprinting to the ring, and I open up with a clothesline.
So good.
That's if you're the second one out, right? And the first guy's in the ring.
Well, even if I'm alone, I'll still clothesline the air.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So I want the listeners to hear this. I want them to digest this, and I can't wait to weigh in. But Mr. Donnie Fosco has entered the ring.
I have entered the ring. I just heard the applause. I'm not sure if Jeremy inserted them or they're in my head. I'm not sure what's real and what's fake right now. Yeah. I've always claimed to not.
Well, your opinion on what you're about to talk about is real. So that
I never know what I'm about to talk about, but I think I might know today. All right. So this comes with a long preface because most of you are a bunch of fucking sensitive pussies. So I'm going to have to preface what I say for like 10 minutes so you actually hear me. Take your fucking earbuds out of your ear, clean your fucking ear with a Q-tip, and fucking please listen to me before you start shooting at me. Okay, so here's the deal. Who do I talk about most on this podcast? My mother and her influence. And she is the strongest woman I've ever known, and she's the person I love most, I always will love most. Do I respect women growing up in a household where my mom defended us. I have more respect for strong women than fucking, I don't want to say anybody I know, but I have a ton of respect for strong women, okay? That's my preface. Hopefully your ears are clean and hopefully you're not ready to criticize. But I have something to say. And I think a lot of people can identify with it. They may not want to admit it. But I'm online the other day and I see this flood of lying and bullshit from just about every fucking personality that I see on Instagram. And it's congratulating and it's making a deal about some fucking made up, stupid bullshit fucking holiday called International fucking Women's Day, right? We have International Cupcake Day. We have International Women's Day. Like, are we going to have International T-shirt Day next? I love fucking women, but when I am put in a position to have to feel like I have to act like it's a thing, like it's something to celebrate women on this day just because a bunch of stupid fucking social media heads are trying to get a little fucking good press by saying, oh, I love strong women. Shut the fuck up, man. You guys are all liars. Follow the money. Some stupid or actually smart motherfucker made up this thing that says it's International Women's Day. Well, fuck you, you fucking moron. I appreciate women every day, but I think International Women's Day is fucking retarded. Okay. Well, can I get an international? No. Can I get an International Men's Day? Can I get an International Ball Sack Day? Can I get an International fucking Dick Day? No, I can't, because I'm a fucking man, because I'm a fucking white man. But we got to act. We got to act. And we all fucking listen to me. Listen. Listen. We all got to act. Oh, yeah, clap. Oh, that's so great that you just posted that and said more power to fuck that bullshit. We live in a fucking society where we can't fucking say the word cute in front of a woman without being fucking having a guillotine drop on our head. We can barely walk down the street anymore and make eye contact with a fucking woman without losing our fucking jobs, right? It's not their fault. But this international women, what is it? What is it? Is it a Hallmark holiday? So men are shamed into fucking congratulating women because they have a pussy? What is it? I don't know what it is. And when I get an email asking me if we give discount codes to women on International fucking Women's Day, I want to respond and say, fuck you, bitch. I don't fucking email your business. No. I don't email fucking your business and say, hey, it's International Men's Day. Do I get to fucking get your product cheaper? What the fuck? Like, what the fuck is all this shit? This is the cumulative effect of social media, of everyone trying to be a fucking good guy. Oh, I don't even know what this is, but I saw a post from fucking Gary V about International Women's Day, and yes, more power to you. And I'm going to make a post so everyone likes it. It's bullshit. No one knows what it is. No one knows what it fucking means. But I respect women. I love women. I love my mother, and I fucking will always respect women. But this is garbage. It's fucking shit. And until there's an International fucking Cock Day or fucking Male Day, I'm done with this shit. I'm not going to play your games. I'm not going to like your post. I'm not going to congratulate you because you had the courage to fucking wish women a happy International Women's Day. Fuck off. I've had enough.
Yes, John, you are fucking right on. Go ahead, Bo.
Hey, well, I'm not sure how to follow it up. We just scratch my head first.
No, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say this, Mo. John was being extremely truthful. And whether you love or hate John, he just told you what he really fucking thought, which most motherfuckers probably think and won't actually say it. That's the running trend of John Fosco's segment. And at the end of the day, kudos to him if that's how he really feels. He just fucking lets you really know, like in a barstool type of way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, well, first of all, I was laughing over here. But I can definitely, and I'll preface it because oftentimes things can be taken out of context. I have a tremendous amount of respect for women. One, having a daughter in Ashley and my mother, and everybody just even within the company that I have. But like most things that come on the internet, when I grew up, there was only like national holidays, right? And you had like just like your standard
Like Labor Day.
Easter, yeah, like Easter's and your President's Day and Labor Day. And in the age of the internet, it seems like every week we're talking about something different. And I don't want to say it's like, just into women in particular, but it's all this like these pseudo holidays, special anniversaries, that try to invoke these just new things in your life. And I'm the type of person who says, like, where does this stuff even come from, or who makes this a thing, or who built this hashtag, and how did this thing become an actual thing and become out here to the masses, and who signed this into law? And so my feelings are a lot the same about just not only International Women's Day, but a lot of stuff. And I'll tell people this: I don't even believe in holidays. So I feel the same way that John feels towards holidays. I think it's a bunch of made up stuff, and I just don't. It doesn't interest me for whatever reason. Right,
hey, where's the petition for International Ballsack Day? I'm gonna fucking sign that motherfucker.
Yeah,
Hey, I'll give out my email address after the show. We're gonna start that shit.
Yeah, so like it is like John, the way you feel about that, maybe in a more mild mannered way, I feel about all holidays. The only thing I think that is actual thing is New Year's.
They're all manufactured.
Like, but everything else is like
it's all manufactured.
Everything else, somebody put it together to make money.
It's a business plan.
It's a business plan, bro. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I feel about all this stuff. But sometimes when I talk about it, people look at me like I'm a killjoy or a Debbie Downer.
You are a Debbie Downer, bro.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I can't sign up and get as enthused about these things. But I know that a lot of this stuff is just manufactured to make money, and it's not a real thing to me. So I feel
this stuff to me is just follower type shit. Literally, it's you're subscribing to the program of social media to fall into that type of stuff. It's follower type stuff. I think, John, the way you put it is punch you in the face as always, which I appreciate. And straight up, John, like what do we hear at the Arnold Classic when people are coming through? They're talking about, John, your segments punch me in the fucking mouth. But once I really think about it, 90% of it's fucking true, and it's just the delivery wakes motherfuckers up. So thanks for saying it in the way you did, bro.
Yeah, we're fighting with reality.
Absolutely. We're fighting with reality, dead on. Thank you, Cory. And I'll just say this because people will take that in whatever way they want. Listen to my preface, and I'll close it with I've never ever, and I never will learn any more from any human being than my mother, who is a strong woman, which in my soul makes me respect women at a level that no listener knows. So if you could hear my words, it's about a holiday. It's not about women. So with that being said, let's change the tone, Cory. Let's move on to Cory Gregory time.
All right. Thank you, Johnny. So as we were getting ready for this show, this thing kept popping up in my head that's kind of happening right now. And in 2 weeks, my stepfather, Randy Thompson, is retiring from the coal mine. And so to give you a little backstory, Randy married my mother when I was like 17 years old. And so when you're 17 years old and you've been essentially the man of the house since you've been like 11, you pretty much running your own shit. My mom was working so much. I never really had any accountability. I was running around. Luckily, I didn't get into more trouble than I probably, possibly could have. And when he came into my life, he had a whole different set of rules. My man doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke. He doesn't cuss. He's like super straight and narrow, like real straight and narrow, works a bunch of hours, hardworking guy, just has kind of a set of things, how he operates. Now, his background, his dad was an alcoholic. That's why he's like that. So he's not really a partier. Not that I was big partier, but at 17 and I don't really have like a lot of accountability. I'm just kind of acting a little bit of a fool at that point in my life, right? So when you enter this guy into my household, shit changes real quick. And I'm only like a year from like about to leave, right? And so when Randy come into my life, it was a hard adjustment for me. But here's what was awesome. He, showed me, not told me, he showed me how to work. Like this motherfucker would just put in so many hours underground. And I didn't know what that really meant because I had never experienced coal mining. But I just saw him leaving early, getting home late, doubling, taking shifts. And obviously like our living situation changed dramatically because of his income and his drive and work ethic. Randy bought me my first nice pair of tennis shoes when I was 17 years old. And they're about to bring them out, to Chris Webber's. I'm about to buy them motherfuckers as soon as they hit, boy. I'm buying them
call
again.
Those the timeouts.
Yeah, exactly, right, Johnny.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget it. Like, and as weird as that is, but when you're 17, shoes is like everything, right? Especially when you're poor. And so when I got them Chris Webber's, I was like, man, and I could tell like it wasn't even a thing. I think there was like maybe $100 or something. And then I just started paying more attention to not what he was saying, but just what he was doing. And so. And then also what's awesome is he likes to lift weights. So that obviously helped out too. I'd see him come home after,
he likes family vehicles too.
He does. Like, he likes, he had a vet too at the time. Right. So he had a vet. It was a drop top. So he had like a little bit of flash to him, but he wasn't like an outlandish type of guy. He'd come home. I'd watch him bench 300 pounds in the basement, like after a 15-hour shift. So all these things that he was doing was just real impactful for me at that point. And then this is where it really changed everything. I was working at the sawmill right after I graduated high school, stacking lumber for $7 an hour. I never really anticipated or even talked about going to the coal mine. But he saw that I was trying to do something, and I started to tell him what I wanted to do, be a trainer and these things. And he said, I got it, man. He goes, and he finally got to the point where I think he could co-sign me around his peers. He saw me working, stacking lumber. I was going to school from 8 to 12, and I was or 8 to 10, and I was stacking lumber from 1 to 10. Every day, making like $7 an hour, and I'm working my ass off, and I'm going to school in a community college. He said, look, I'll get you a job in a coal mine, $14 an hour, $21 an hour overtime. You can work as much as possible. I've mentioned that multiple times. So he gave me really he didn't give me anything except for an opportunity to go work hard. But I had to get there to a point where he could co-sign me enough so I didn't make him look like an idiot. Right. So I go in there and I just did what he showed me, worked my ass off, saved my money, did all these things. Right. And the day when I left the coal mine, he never wanted me to stay there. He knew it was easy for me to do. I was natural because I'm a 4th generation. I was strong. I knew how to work, and I started piling up some money. And he pushed me to go, like, get the hell out of here. Do your thing. I don't want you to stay here. And, so fast forward, if I leave the coal mine, my whole aspiration was to change shit, man. I mean, that was the start point to get my money to move out and try to really change, life of all our family. So 20 years later, Cory G Fitness .com's doing extremely well. We got thousands of members all over the world. Well, in 2015, when I started this, I realized I didn't have a customer service plan. These people have problems with their credit cards. They got things they can't get into the app or, just whatever. So I taught my mom how to do it. She had never really ran a computer. She didn't know what she was doing. And so 4 years, ago, almost 5 now, my mom is my customer service G, basically. She is a G. She's really good at it. She's the one
that
her
position on her business card? Does it say customer service G?
If we had one, we would. And she's the one that taught. She's the one that taught me as I was growing up how to treat people. She's amazing at it. Luckily, because I don't want to fire my mom.
No.
But at the end of the day, here's the moral of my story: is 20 years later, after Randy gave me that opportunity, a big reason why he's able to retire 3 years early is because my mom has this job.
And she can bring the income in.
Exactly. And so
Cory, is it secure though? Have you threatened firing your mom recently?
I haven't. Hey, even if I
good. You shouldn't.
I'd have to hire someone else and not fire my mom, even if it was the thing, right? Luckily, she's
that would be a
horrible
thing. That'd be a horrible thing.
It'd be a horrible thing. But what was cool is he said it to me when he was up here the other day. He's like, I'm able to quit 3 years early. He's 63. He'd been doing it since he was 18. He got it saved up. He got all these things, but it's never enough, right?
It's never enough.
He's like, look, man, the fact that your mom has this full-time gig with you, that she's able to do it and bring this income is the reason why I can quit early. And I got to thank you for that. Man, what? And so like that to me is like, that's the long game of all of them, man. When you can repay somebody that gave you an opportunity to get the fuck up out of there. And then at their time of life, when that shit, man, that shit's real.
Man, listen to me. When you're in your 60s and you're working.
Come on, man.
And you
especially doing that shit.
Man, brother, listen to me. When you're in your 60s, you're not trying to be working. You're not trying to be underground. You're not trying to put in long hours. What he really should be doing with your mother is really enjoying life.
And that's the thing. I try to tell him, like, man, that shit's over for you, bro. Like, the fact that I guess my point is that this thought in my mind that these things could happen, they're happening right now.
But what I took from that story, the first part, and it leads back to one of our previous episodes when I said everybody has money, but it's relationships that change your life, right? And I was talking about Jeff in our other episode, but the relationship that you had with him is what brought the opportunity to you.
Yes.
And that opportunity basically helped you to save enough money to obviously put you in a different situation. And I can't say it enough. Businesses, everybody has money. There's a ton of people in America with money. Money isn't the end all of everything. It's just a resource to get involved in things. But what turns your faucet on and what changes your life permanently is the relationships that you have with people. And that's reciprocity. Like you being able to give to your mother, which gives into that household, I think is one of the most honorable and cool things. But you should get him a pair of those Chris Webbers when
I'm going to.
Yeah,
all right, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Hey, you know,
Webbs.
Yeah.
I want to throw some out though, real quick. I want to throw some
Go
out. So obviously, I've met Randy. He loves family vehicles. I think he's a great guy, and I think his energy is great. I love being around the guy. He just seems great.
Sure.
But as a young man, I got to give you credit because the level of I think maturity, right? Like I know I could not accept at 18 years old or 17, whatever you were, another man into my mother's life because I was stupid, insecure, and to me that's an enemy combatant. So it's almost like the process of accepting him, and then now you've seen what it's yielded. I just wanted to basically make a comment. I think that's a great thing because I think a lot of young men, especially aggressive, especially alpha, they really fight that.
Oh, Johnny, it wasn't easy, brother. I think here's what I started to realize. I started to look at, okay, this guy is probably one of the more successful put together people I've ever been around. He doesn't live check to check. He has nice stuff. He works his ass off. He treats my mom like a queen. So I was like, why? So as a kid, I'm thinking, why am I rebelling against this? Just because he don't look like me, talk like me, think like me, want to party, want to do this.
He's way better looking.
Exactly. He had a perm mullet. He had a bald perm mullet at the time. That's
amazing. What we call smooth.
It was so good. Hey,
smooth,
so good, bro. I mean, it was permed, mullet, bald, amazing.
Fucking
right?
Let that soul glow.
Yeah, Theo Vaughn would have fucking loved it. Oh, bald spot. It was bald, bro.
Oh,
Theo Vaughn would have loved it. So I think that I started to process like all the other shit I've been seeing ain't working out for nobody. My dad went bankrupt. He tried several businesses. He ain't never had his shit together like this. This guy's treating me with respect. And the fact that he lifted weights helped a ton. I'm not going to fucking lie.
That's the connection.
Absolutely. Because to this day, and this is what I'm excited about, and then I'll wrap it up, Mo. I know I'm a little over.
Nah, you all good.
Is that's one of the things I look forward to the most during holidays is us just training. Because there's no.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because he has a dope fucking basement gym at his house. And so like when I go there for Thanksgiving or Christmas, like because of his work schedule and my work schedule, we train together maybe like 2 or 3 times a year. Now when he retires, that's one of the things he's starting to talk about. He's like, I want to be able to train when I want to train and come see you, go to old school. Like that's part of his, like that's what he likes to do. He just never got to do it for a job. And so that's one of the things I look forward to is like not having any time restrictions, just being in the basement 2-3 hours, just pumping iron, man. Absolutely. So anyway, I just want to share that with you guys because at the end of the day, some of these things take 20 years to transpire, but when they actually do,
how you felt?
Man, what? It's very rewarding.
Yeah, for people who can't see him, I see my man tear up over here, and you can't manufacture tears, man. And but those are the rewarding things, not like, hey, I got on the fucking jet today. You can see it on fucking IG.
You can't see this shit on IG.
Nah, bro. But that's what I'm talking about. We fighting for reality.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And when you start like, this is the real shit. This is what we lose in the age of the internet, where you can have like valuable experiences and everybody doesn't have to be cool or everybody doesn't have to take a picture of themselves and be narcissistic, and you can appreciate moments in life. Like, just moments, man, moments in time. Like that's what impact people. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what really impacts people. Like
It's
that.
all you
Like
take with you too, man. Think
just
about it. What do you take with you when it's
so John, I'm gonna give you a quick story before we transition. Right, I played 8 football games in my college career, but they were impactful moments, and I'm still able to benefit from them
right?
16 years later from creating moments in people's lives. Not like cool IG shit. Not like I don't do anything cool. I'm not like a cool dude. I'm just a real dude.
You got some
And
filters now, Mo, and you got some music, and I mean,
yeah,
you're in
so,
it. Yeah.
so maybe I got some assistants will help me get cool.
There you go.
I'm
Okay.
definitely like I don't have a cool personality. Let me say like that. I'm the first one to say
Come
it.
on, Mo.
But you know what I'm saying? But that story really made me appreciate. It's kind of like the way you appreciated those old cards, like having honor and helping somebody retire early is like that whether we know it or not, that's like a thing of the past now.
Of course
Like
it is.
somebody said, like, let me look out for my parents or let me look out for people who helped me get to where I'm at. That thing is like a thing of the past.
But to go one level deeper, Mo, when you die, what you just said is going to be valid. Those moments where people remember where they were at when you stripped the ball or ran a touchdown,
Yeah.
those moments are going to live on, and that's a gift that you gave people. Even though football may be a surface thing, those moments maybe brought people. I'm sure they brought many people together.
No doubt about it.
All right, it's time for Maurice's program. Let's go, Mo.
Yeah,
What
get the
program are we
pirate
on?
in here, Mo. Give him a beat down.
Yeah, so for lack of better words, I call it the preparation program. And I was thinking about this when I was running today. So I ate an entire Jets pizza last night. And so I said, fuck, I got to get up and run. I got good pizza, though.
Maurice, I got an app you can download, Mo.
You got an app?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I did that. So I said, let me get my ass up and run today. And I plan on working out later on just to work the pizza off, right? But that's neither here nor there, right?
Work the pizza off.
You got to work the pizza off. And I'm not subscribing to Cory's app. Fuck
that dude.
Hey, that's too many restrictions in my life.
Hey, that's not. hey, that's $9, bro.
Yeah.
That's cheap.
That hitter, boy.
Yeah. So,
all right, go, Mo. Go ahead. Preparation program.
The preparation program. So, obviously, and for the listeners, you all don't know, but everybody around Business and Biceps is abnormally busy, right? More busier than normal. And we mentioned it episodes ago that everybody is getting into something new that is basically causing more of their time and more of their attention to be devoted elsewhere. And so internally, we just had a discussion on ways that we can get better. And it felt good with the conference call that we had the other day. And so we had a conference call, and it was all on how to get better, how to make the show better, how to deliver better, and how to basically step our game up. And I was telling these guys that, you know, what it also inspired me to do was to look at other areas of my life, be it with the fact that I'm getting ready to get a detox center going and some other businesses inside of the building that I recently purchased. And what it had done to me was that in the middle of running, I started stopping and writing on the whiteboard because I was running up and down the stairs in my basement, right? Mm-hmm. And it had inspired a bunch of thoughts. And all of these thoughts were rooted around preparation. And when I was running, I started framing stuff up in my mind. I started unfolding ideas. I started doing push-ups. I started doing burpees. And I was doing them in the same space that I work in. But it was all for preparation. And I started to realize that the inspiration comes through preparation and the confidence comes through preparation. And it was literally me enjoying or me wanting to get better at preparing myself on what it was that we were about to do, be it with Business and Biceps, be it with what we're doing with the Red Zone and another venture that I'm off into. But I started to break down categories, and I got back into like that rookie space of when you're inspired to do something. And now it didn't help, that I came here because I wanted to keep on running and keep on exercising and keep on writing because I was in a flow. You know, like you're in a flow
Sure.
and you have to break it. I got right there, but it was for me to inspire people or me to tell people if you're looking to be re-inspired. I think that the part of that or part of getting that deal back is going back to the drawing board and preparing yourself for what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And I think that when we kind of came and checked ourselves and to readjust goals and to reset our sail and to say, hey, look, this is what we're looking to do or what we're looking to get accomplished. And I think that John has stated a question like, you know, what are we looking on a daily basis to bring to the table? Yep. It kind of made me check myself and say, okay, what am I bringing to the table to make this deal better? but that mentality switched over to other areas where we may be just going and moving forward and making money, but am I doing everything I can to make those things pop? And the answer, regrettably, was no. You know what I'm saying? And it made me think like, man, you can have a good thing going and it can be going, it can be producing money. But when you ask yourself, are you giving everything for it? And the answer is no. You do have to kind of go back to that drawing board and re-prepare yourself. And I don't want to say relaunch because that's the wrong word, but reassess what you're doing.
Yeah, reassess.
Reassess what you're doing and get it. But it gave me a tremendous amount of energy. And even last night, even last night, and I'm pretty sure you all have been here before, where you're tossing and turning in the bed, and you're thinking about what you're thinking about. You're thinking about, I was thinking about this. I was thinking the same stuff that I was thinking about this morning while I was running was the same stuff I was thinking about last night, and I didn't get a bunch of sleep, but it was all in that spirit of having to prepare better. But it showed me that the juice or the magic or the success of anything is all in preparation. Even when I took notes when we were talking yesterday, it was all in preparing pre-production, preparing post-production, preparing IG, preparing our social media platforms, establishing those standards and then adhering to them. But like making these things clear and making those things a thing within our deal is what I want to go home and do and write out and sit and listen to music and burn a candle and sit and visualize. And so it's all to inspire preparation, and preparation is the ultimate program. Like you can't get around it. That's the only way to get to where you have to go to. And preparation has allowed you to establish the standards that you're adhering to and you pushing towards. And so I'm just encouraging people to take preparation more serious, and that it just doesn't happen, but that actual work and investing into the preparing of what you're trying to do and what you're trying to research or find out is ultimately like that's the weight. That's the weight of what's in your vehicle. That's the gas. You know what I'm saying? That's the currency for paying the toll to get by. And so hopefully that made sense to some of you all. But if you're looking to be re-inspired, it may be from a lack of maybe your last ideas or your last form of preparation ran its course. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that last time that you got together with the guys and y'all talked about your business and what you wanted to do, maybe that thing had an expiration date on it, or that those thoughts and that energy just kind of died out. And now you have to, with the wisdom that you've learned, reinvigorate that, re-energize that, and go again. And maybe we have to do this thing again, but having a little bit more wisdom that it may run out, may be what's needed. So I don't know your thoughts on it.
Here's what I love. I love that I want to ask our listeners to connect with us on what you were just speaking about. So like Mo said, we had a call about how we took our eye off the ball a little bit with this show, and we could be doing better. And then we started to lay out processes to increase that and to make it better. And when you do that and people say, yep, okay, well, I'll do that. Okay, now you have an increased level of accountability. Well, guess what? We are accountable to you, the listener, and you guys are part of this process. So we could think, we got a great podcast. We got these. Fuck that. I want you guys to email us. Hey, man, your social media looks a little bit whack. I wish you were doing this. Hey, man, your shows, I wish you would. Dude, we are a work in progress, just like fucking Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon. Every business, and this is one, is a work in progress. And the best feedback we can ever get, sure, we can brainstorm all we want, is from our listeners. So you guys can see in real time the effort that we are putting into our business. And I'll put us all out on the table. Look at our Instagram. Look how it progressively got worse over the last 4 months. Look at it. That is a reflection of the 3 people you hear right now who sometimes try to give advice fucking off. I mean, that is a reflection of our weakness. So it's up to us to make that better. And we are going to make that better because the 3 of us are accountable. And I promise you, I won't lose. And I know these 2 guys won't lose, but you guys are involved in this because you guys are the listeners. You're the one who's watching everything. So I would love you, the listener, to give us feedback, critical. Listen, you hear me roast motherfuckers. who ask questions. But here I am with an Instagram that got shittier over the past 4 months. So maybe I should be roasted. So please give us feedback, because we are a work in progress, just like every other business.
Yeah, while you guys are on Instagram, direct message. The other thing is, I think that'd be cool is if you guys have ideas on topics that you would love to hear Fosco talk about in his world, or Mo's program, or my time, and or main events. Like, it's not just Q&A that we can utilize, your guys' input. It can be on content, because we want to give you, the listener, what you want. And sometimes we might think we are, but maybe once again, maybe we need to steer down a path of something else. So I think that also is super key. So make sure you give that feedback. I think, to Maurice's point, it's like every time that you reassess, it gives you the juice, bro. Like last night I was sitting there watching TV and I sent you all that text. That stuff just came out of my brain based around what we talked about. And it was just to give a little feedback, it was like this long kind of thing that just was like multiple ideas I had for main events for each one of these.
And I didn't even know
segments.
Cory knew how to spell, and this was an amazing text.
Yeah, I mean, 2.1 grade point average, pretty amazing. But at the end of the day, it was like, but what I know that I can contribute to the show, which is look, I've been doing content my entire life. This is like my jam. This is what I do. And it's like these things come more natural to me than some others. And it's like, that's something that I should be doing more often if I am trying my best, right? I don't care if I come up with every one of fucking Maurice's segments, if they fucking kill it. I haven't came up with any of his segments, but at the end of the day, if I could contribute to that and it makes the show better, then why wouldn't I use my skill set to do that? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
And so that's the kind of thing I started putting on myself. Like, this is what I do naturally. Why am I not doing it?
I tell you like this, the biggest thing, and I think I mentioned it in Nashville, and this may be for everybody, this is just good advice, to have people who have success in other areas, right? So this doesn't make or break anybody doing this podcast, right? It doesn't click the needle. To treat this as if it's the only thing that we have, or the only thing that we have to basically contribute to the world in any capacity, to get that mentality around this is what will make this thing better for people. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure a lot of people can identify with that in life who has a couple dollars saved up, or they're doing well, and there's some other secondary thing that they're involved in, and it just may not get all of their time because it doesn't reap those rewards. But that's really a character call on excellence, because whether you paid $1 or whether you paid $1 million, just the standard of excellence in what you're doing in all spaces should be there. So I guess it was a checking call to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I was telling Cory, John, that we had the conference call in the middle of all this crazy stuff going on in my office. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, yo, this shit can't be more of a perfect storm.
That's how it works, though. It always hits you at the same time.
So I got people trying to talk to me. And I'm like, all right, they hear me talking about a podcast. They're like, hey, motherfucker, you ain't shooting a podcast right now. You here. And I'm like, I get what y'all saying. I'm pushing mute. I'm going back and forth. I'm writing notes. And so the life of an entrepreneur, but I'll let it go on with there. But please remember, you all hit us up if you have any suggestions, and we'll rock and roll.
Yeah, appreciate it. Let's head to Butt Life Q&A.
Yeah, he just bounced and he's ready, I think, for the first question.
Yes, everyone, keep on sending us questions at Biz and Biceps on Instagram and Twitter. If we use your question on the air, we'll send out a free t-shirt for you. First question. I own a successful asset management firm. I like what I do and am really good at it, but I do not feel fulfilled by it. I have a side hustle that I love and can help me live a fulfilled life. The problem is I manage the money of over 200 families. How do I transition to pursue the career I want without letting down the families who work with me that have helped me to get where I am today?
Well, what I would say is this. Number one, kudos to you. Congrats on building something that's successful and sustainable. Number two, asset management is a very saturated space. So if you really have this passion and you have some financial freedom, but you really have this passion for this side hustle you speak of, there are hundreds of thousands of asset managers. And because you're a good one, apparently, you can identify one or a firm. And even though you work, one-on-one with these families, if your heart isn't in it, eventually you will not be servicing them to the level that they deserve. And you can offload them by either selling your business, selling your clients, or handing them off to another firm to go pursue what lights up your heart. I will promise you this. If you care about those families, you will do them a disservice if you continue to service them and your heart is not in it. So because you've built something good, you have something that's probably saleable or something you can get compensated on if you want to move into that secondary space, but always, always, always do what lights you up inside.
Yeah, if you don't love it, man, there's no way you can give. You might be able to give a serviceable level for this business for a period of time because it's driving your bills and your payments. But if you don't love it, it ain't gonna work long term. I mean, at the end of the day, that's just what it is. I think people try to deny this. I quit denying that shit a long time ago. If I ain't into it, I'm fucking out. Like that is Straight Talk Wireless. We need them as a sponsor because that is the fucking that is it. Like that is it. And that's and I've done that stuff my whole life because I saw this growing up. Motherfuckers is just fucking miserable. And I just refuse to live that way. And if there's something you really like, even though you was okay or good at this other thing, you prepare it, you identify a person that's similar to you, that these families, if you care about them, that you work with, you sell it and you go about your real dream. You got to live your truth, man. There's nothing worse than sitting around wishing shoulda, coulda, woulda. Man, fuck all that stuff. Life's too short.
Yeah, I actually lived it. I wasn't in financial services, but I was in transportation and I was making six figures, but I didn't love it. And I just walked away from it. I would never in my life do nothing again. I would do something I have to get to a point, but I would never do anything long term that my heart isn't into or that makes me miserable just to make ends meet. I would do only what makes me happy because I found out once you do what makes you happy, it may not make sense on the front end, but once you figure out how to wrap a business around what you're doing, you'll be perfectly fine and you'll work endless amounts of hours and you'll be happier. And I think people I think you're fucking fool to discount your personal happiness for money.
Yeah.
That's not sacrifice. It's like stupidity. You know what I'm saying? To total devalue, like life is how you feel about yourself, bro. You know what I'm saying?
You're
Like
taking away a piece of life. You're exactly right.
How the fuck do I feel about Maurice every day I wake up? You know what I'm saying? Regardless of you can always make money. Like if you want to make money, you can just go fucking cut grass and shovel snow, some of the most basic shit to make money. You know what I'm saying? But being happy, that reflects in relationships, that reflects with the way you interacting with your kids, that reflects in just coworkers. Like you may be holding up, like you may be able to be the best person at what you are intending to get into just because you're happy in different parts of you glow. You know what I'm saying? Like John said it when we went out to the West Coast. Like I love the West Coast. My dream is to go out there and live. Once my daughter gets out of college, I'm going to the West Coast. That's just what it is. I love the West Coast. I enjoy it. You can see it on me. I enjoy the shit, but I'm not going to sacrifice my happiness for that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to stand on how and sacrifice myself here just because I want to be somewhere else. And I love just the energy and the sunshine. And maybe that may burn out and run out, but I'll never, ever in my fucking life again. I'm 35. I'll never again do something that and put my happiness secondary over anything.
Love it. Next question.
Butt life fell again. Jesus. All right, Q2.
I have observed that the best salespeople around me tend to have a really addictive personality, and I wanted your take on it. Is it healthy to shift your addictive personality to get addicted to making the sale and getting paid? Do you think that great salespeople need to have addictive personalities to stand above the rest?
That's a really intuitive question. It's a great question. And oh man, truth be told, I'm thinking about it right now. That's why I'm.
It's a really good question for you, John.
Well, and all great salespeople I know, I'm talking great, they all have very addictive personalities. And I think it's because the sale is like a drug.
Yep.
And when you get off on it, there's obviously a financial reward. There's a reward of recognition, and there's a reward of, wow, I'm skilled at this. And you get addicted to it. So you become so fucking good at it. But I think it messes with your brain to give yourself things, right? Like you may view yourself as like, ooh, I'm going to go get this fucking sale. It's like, oh, I'm going to blow this line of cocaine. It gives me that same, yeah. So I think there is a connection. I don't want to say you have to have an addictive personality, to be a good salesperson. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is in my observation and in my experience of being a really good salesperson and being around really, really high grossing salespeople, you're spot on, buddy. They have very, very addictive personalities.
That's a very, very good question because I sell way different than a guy like John does. I do have an addictive personality, not to substances, but just to, certain other things. And we all do. I think as entrepreneurs, I think we have to have some type of personality traits like that. So I think that's a real common kind of thing because most people that are entrepreneurial are looked upon as some sort of crazy for some thing that they do often or they take part in or the way they operate. So I think it's just that type of person that's sales / entrepreneur. I think that, but I'm sure there's people that are successful in sales that aren't this crazy, but probably not very many and probably not the top tier. So, I mean, I don't even know how to answer it other than I think you're just fucking right. And that's probably what it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna share something real quick. Mo,
Go ahead.
this just popped in my head. So when I was working a job and I was grossing more and more money as a salesman, I literally had the number 4 in the company come up to me and say, "Listen, man. So if you look at the money you're making and the time you're working, I think I was working like 12-hour days." He's like, straight talk. He's like, if you go in that room and you hit a couple lines, he's like, you could put in 16 hours. He's like, that's 25% more time. It's like, imagine what 25% more sales is to you. And I was like, damn, like that's the level it gets to. Like I have a leader telling me to blow cocaine.
That's
Straight?
crazy.
No, I mean, it's serious. So I'm sorry to cut you off, Mo. I just wanted to share that.
I'm not even trying to follow up after that shit.
Call Miss whatever fuck her name is.
Miss Lanice. Yeah, so
Miss Lanice.
So good.
Yeah, no. So I had a different thought on it because I think that that's a very good question, and I was going to answer it that I think that salespeople who have addictive personalities becomes good because once you start doing drugs, drinking and drugging, I think your mind breaks through so many barriers of fear. At least with me, when I start popping pills and smoking weed and drinking a ton. And I think that once you become sober, I think that you've expanded your mind and your level of fear and your level of no's and your level of what you're not intimidated to do. Because I think the normal person is intimidated to go talk to people or sell themselves. But if you've done drugs for an extended period of time, or if you've drank for an extended period of time, you've acted a lot out of your character. And when you sober up, you started to realize that all this stuff is in you. And I think you connected to kind of what John is talking about when you get that sale and when you get the reward, that becomes a substitute for what else you're chasing, because drinking and drugging is really the chase for a different feeling. And that feeling of getting money, and money is important in our world for numerous things. I think that becomes a thing and you chase after that. And I just remember just my mentality. It's kind of like just going to prison. My mind is forever stretched. So there's certain things I just don't fear or don't bother me. But I think a combination of prison and drugs and experience is what kind of like makes me nonchalant towards things that would normally bother people with doing, or going to knock on a door, or going to proposition someone about something. And I think that he's absolutely right. But I think the expansion of your mind when you start to drink and drug, John may weigh in on it, but that's just my deal with it. I think that there's a lot of fears that you break down. And even to say this, I don't even say this, like, I think in a controlled fashion, drugs are healthy for some people, so I think that's all fucking hospitals are. But I've explored more shit mentally when I've been on drugs and smoking weed than I've done sober.
I got a question for both you guys, because I always think this, like, it's interesting when you're around people and they're drinking, the wall comes down.
Yes.
And they start telling you like real shit, asking you real questions and really showing you them. I think more so, right? So is that kind of what you're talking about? Like you start to kind of like,
but you experience it now. So if you've done it when you've done it for an extended period of time, now you found out that all this personality does exist in you.
That's kind of my point, is that it's not that you're acting any different. You're just acting free.
No, yes,
because you don't have no fucking bullshit.
People are reserved. Like, people are like just naturally reserved to want to show who they are in fear of what another person would think about them. Once you start doing drugs and you start to realize who that person is, it's a lot easier for you to tap into that person and understand the that you're no longer fearing doing that anymore. And I'll let John speak on it, but that's how my deal went. And I think we're all self-conscious sober when we're younger.
Yes.
And go to college.
No, I'll tell you this. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and I was being straight about Molly, which is pure MDMA, which they actually used to give to soldiers after World War II who suffered from PTSD and depression. But when you're on Molly, I said the weird thing about it is it's almost like the way things should be. And what I mean by that is you could go to a function where you know nobody and there is no wall. So if I make eye contact with you, I'm going to walk up to you and say, hey, how you doing? I'm John. What are you up to? Oh, you know him? Boom. And part of me says, like, that's how it should be. Why are we all reserved in our little corners, afraid to introduce ourselves? Now, I am not promoting drug use. It's a drug I don't use anymore. But yeah, there's a lot of, oh, I can do this, but why do I need this substance to do it? So yeah, you do unlock a lot of what you're capable of. And you wish you could do that without it. But the thing is you can, but it just takes harder work like everything else.
So do you think that that's why it's so fucking popular?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because so why it's the same reason why people take Adderall. It's the same reason why people take Percocet. It's the same reason why people take Molly, MDMA. That's why people drink every fucking day. And that's why, like, if you set normal people down to just, just think about it. You go look at the show that LeBron and them just did, The Shop, right?
Yeah.
All those guys drinking. You go look at these reality TV shows, all these people drinking. It's to get people to open up and to be themselves in these vehicles, be it that they're unhealthy if abused over an extended period of time. Sure. That's where drinking and drugs get to. But John is spot on. The work it takes is the repetition while you're doing it, while you're sober, and working through your mind that this is not a problem. This is who I am. This is who I'm growing into. And the personal development is what allows you to be that person for an extended period of time.
Sure.
And that's just constantly working on yourself. But the alcohol and the drugs are like the performance enhancers for socialization. You know what I'm saying? So,
no doubt. Is that the third question or second?
Second.
Let's run to a quick Q3 about that.
How do you each get yourselves out of personal funks or ruts?
So for me, it's I think I talked to Cory about it earlier this week. I was kind of in one for myself, and my personal ruts involve a quick trigger. Like I have I'm agitated, and I want to get fucking mad. And the first step to that, which I learned a long time ago, was you have to feel it. You have to feel it. You have to feel it, because when you feel it, you're aware of it. Okay, once you're aware of it, that's step one. That doesn't solve it. Then what you need to do is the people that you care about, you need to let them know that you're in that funk, because we're all human. It's okay. It's okay to be in a funk, but let the people know who you care about. Man, I'm fucking struggling with this. I don't want to come off wrong. If something comes off harsh, I just want to let you know I'm dealing with this, because then people are like, yeah, I got you, man. It's like, it's all good. And then people help you a lot. But at the end of the day, if it's just me and myself, I always, and I say this all the time, there's certain words, right, that trigger, right, everybody. And I literally say, you are just being a little bitch. You're being a little pussy, bro. Like, what is this little, I'm mad. What is that getting you, John? Like, so we all need to figure out our triggers and what words trigger us. And we need to fucking challenge ourselves to fucking man the fuck up or woman up, and just don't be that bitch. Or for the listener, it may be another word, but everyone knows their triggers. Use them on yourself when you're being a little fucking punk.
Yeah, I think, everybody gets in a funk. To John's point, he mentioned it to me the other day, like, yo, G, just in case, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, man, I can already feel it. I appreciate you over communicating it just so I know. But then also it made me understand, like, if there's things that maybe John in this time is unsure about with our partnership, I need to over communicate. Man, I'm going to be there when you need me in South Carolina. I'm planning on, like, I was trying to like let him know, like, he's not on his own, if that was part of why he was feeling that. I never asked him that, but my thing was like, I'm going to try, if I understand the way he's feeling, then I'm going to try to, like, overly show like my support of what we're trying to take on, I guess, essentially. And then which was very truthful. And then for me, it's like I always just unplug for a sec, because here's the thing: everybody can get caught up in how important their shit is, right? How the sun rises and falls on what you got going on. There's a lot of motherfuckers out here who don't give two fucks. Actually, most people don't, right? And the best thing is your family, your kids that don't care about business, your grandparents that don't care about business. To me, that's what always resets it, right? I do something I love and I go around people I love. I unplug that bitch from the wall and I talk to my mom. I talk to my grandpa. I sort my kids' baseball cards with them. I do things that don't matter. No one cares about what I got going on. They just want to be with Cory. They just want to be with dad. They just want to talk to their son. They just want to talk to their grandchild. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I think sometimes you just got to step back from all the craziness and just go, let me just go to like the basic level of just a person that doesn't do this. Because I think what happens is you start to define what you're doing and who you are, all kind of gets mixed up, and you got to separate that for a second. I think it takes down that wall. Then you can take a deep breath for a second, and then you can go back when it's time to go after it. That's kind of the way I process it.
Yeah, for me, it's music does it for me. And I can always tell people I either listen to classical music, I listen to Coldplay, I listen to Calvin Harris. I listen to something that is like is energetic.
Calvin Harris.
Yeah, I like Calvin Harris.
Love it.
Yes.
Or just stuff that's
Maurice,
yeah, multifaceted, right? You didn't expect that.
Content box.
Yeah, content box. So my dream is to go see a Coldplay concert. I'm gonna go to a Coldplay concert.
Coldplay is special. Yeah, they're talented. Yeah.
So I listen to stuff that like gets me out of the hustle mentality, because like if I listen to a lot of aggressive rap music, it gets me into that hustler, old school Youngstown mentality, which is not always bad. That's good for chasing goals. But if I'm trying to decompress, I listen to something like a lot more lighthearted, energetic, upbeat.
Makes sense.
And I'm very in tune how sound and just the vibration of the energy, what people are talking about, how I can get into your space. I enjoy hitting the heavy bag. That's one of the probably my favorite things to do. Like when I get blood moving around and I'm focused like on just doing something constructive, where I'm just taking that energy, because it's really energy that you're trying to like displace, right? And if I could just hit the bag and I could do like some high intensity interval training where I'm doing burpees and shit like that, I can kind of think through the problem. And after that, I always say the same thing, and I got it written on my board downstairs. What are you trying to become? And is this the best way to use your time? And it's even with my girl. We'll get into it about some issue, and I'll ask myself, how much time am I spending on whatever our issue is? And I like when I actually think about it and what I'm trying to become, I'll say, man, like, you wasting your fucking time. And that's how I get out of funks. And you have to, like, I sleep them off. Sometimes it calls for you to talk through things. I know a lot of people don't like to talk through shit because it like provokes a lot of the emotion, but sleep on shit, talk it out. But I'm telling you, music does it for me, because I think music is so fucking important. We can have an episode on that alone, where, it's probably one of the first things people do when they get in the car, when they put the earbuds in, when they just do the day. It's a staple in your day. But
it sets your mood. It literally establishes your mood.
Yeah. And it gets whatever is being dictated over that record in any fashion. That's where your energy's flowing, and whatever you focus on, wherever you put your energy, it goes. And so that's my deal, and if you want to just get into some articles on music therapy and how it affects you, and, go from there.
I want to comment on it real quick, Mo, because music and working out obviously is two huge things I enjoy too. And it's like a lot of times I'll try to put, like, the other day, I had a shitty workout. I was in a funk about something. I was tired from the Arnold. I was like, fuck lunging a half mile. I'm gonna lunge a mile. Go through that other half mile mental kind of pain, push through, win, like a small battle win, right? Mm-hmm. And when you come up on the other side of that, then it's like, fuck. Like
I feel better.
Yeah, I feel better. And on top of that, the music thing, which I always talk about, I love listening to music that throws me back into, and that's what's so crazy about music. It can put you in a spot of when you're 16, 17 years old with a click of a finger, with one song that throws you back in to those spots where you weren't anything yet and everything was just a dream.
Yeah, you're
right?
like into Monte Carlo, getting ahead. Yeah, exactly.
Never had Monte Carlo, but that's amazing.
Sorry, that was just a thought that came out of my head.
Literally out of your head. And so I think that it's one of those things where I think that that's a good trigger sometimes. Sometimes you want to go back there. Sometimes you don't want to go back there, Mo, to your point. But understanding that that's a like strategy, I think is cool.
Music rules.
Absolutely. All right. Well, shit.
Music rules. Yeah.
O'Doyle rules. All right. Time for the main event.
Ding, 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 ding.
All right. So we were chatting about living below your means and if that's kind of a thing in today's IG era, which I think is an interesting time that we all live in.
Yes.
And everybody's so flashy and trying to spend money and do all these things. But at the end of the day, like I kind of started off with this, and I'll throw it to you, Johnny. I watched my parents. I wouldn't say they were like keeping up with the Joneses because we didn't have any like super nice stuff, but it like the way that they operated always was running up against what was just coming in and the uncertainty of it. Because my dad was on strike a lot when I was a kid. He tried multiple different businesses that never worked. I saw him have like 4 businesses just not work. My mom tried a couple different things. And so, the normal job was present, but the financial discipline of the overhead and liabilities, meaning like something that's taking money out of your pocket, not putting it in, was just not really there. So when I say living above your means, it wasn't even at like a flashy level. It was like at like a not even probably like a middle class level, but it was still probably too far above. And just understanding like car notes and rent and these things, like I just don't think my old man was making the proper decisions. It put the pressure on him. And then when you combine that with a lottery habit on top of it, you ain't got no fucking money left over. And then you ain't got no rainy day stuff. And then you don't understand about putting yourself into a hole. And I think a lot of people don't process like, yo, I'm bringing in a G a month. Should I really be spending 70% on my place where I'm living and 20%? Like, I don't think they really have an equation or maybe even think about, they just see, oh, I'm making this money, I can spend this money. And I just think that conversation, especially with you two guys, you guys are some of the most financially disciplined people I've ever met, I think could be real helpful for our listeners. So I'll throw it to you, Johnny.
Yeah. Like I said, before we got on the air, I remember probably when I was just maybe 10, 11 years old, when I was really kind of old enough to understand how to identify possessions, right? My Aunt Anne, who I have her ashes in the place I'm in right now. And I also have a cross of hers that was on the bed next to you. She's very important to me. But I remember growing up, she would miss a lot of stuff, but she would always call and apologize because at the age of 18, she got a job at M&M Mars. She retired from M&M Mars at the age of 63. Fortunately, got cancer a month after and died, but she worked her ass off her whole life. And when I was 11, I remember she always would have like an S-Class Mercedes. And I was like, man, yeah, always. And she didn't spend money on shit. She was really, she lived in the same house, but she worked her ass off. And I said, Aunt Anne, I said, man, what do you pay for that? Like, how much does that cost a month? And she looked at me, she says, John, you don't pay for things monthly. You pay for things when you can pay for things. She goes, I don't pay for things monthly. She goes, you've been in my house. I don't pay for it monthly. I bought it. She goes, I would never drive that car if I had to pay for it. I bought it. She goes, you got to remember, you buy things. People are so twisted now with, can I get this thing? She said, if I couldn't buy that and continue my life, I wouldn't be driving that. So when you grow up, buy things. Don't pay for things, because when you pay for things, it comes with interest. And you may not understand interest right now, but it will slowly but surely bleed you. And she said, I'm not, in her own way, she said, I'm not Bill Gates, but I'll tell you something. I know how to make money. And more importantly, I know how to keep money. So when she passed, I saw how she kept her money. And it was long-term, very safe investments. I saw the financial profile. Very little money was put out, right? It was just she worked, and she had her money work for her. And that lesson, I think, really, because I could see something visually, right, which was this, always I don't know, every 2-3 years, a new S class, which I didn't even know what it was at the time. Like I just knew it was a big, beautiful car. I saw that and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what you do, man. You don't fucking make payments. You pay for things. You know what I'm saying? And that was, I think, maybe the start of my understanding of being able to afford something, being able to buy something.
Yeah, and I think that this is the most crippling thing to most people when they're starting to get money. And what I think happens is that people make money and they ascend through their jobs or whatever it is they're doing. They have goals of being financially free, getting into business at some point once they work themselves out of where they currently are, or they just want to get to a better space financially, right? But what happens is that the more money they make, they allow society, their friends, their social circle to put the pressure on them to say, "Hey, I have a new car, which is a Mercedes, a Range Rover, a BMW, or something exclusive or high end." And then I have to move into the $500,000 house, which I had to, put a sizable down payment on, and I'm stretching myself with payments and taxes and everything else. And then all my clothes have to match this deal that I'm living in, right? And then my spouse or my girlfriend, they have to be living like that. And the next thing you know, they begin to run on this hamster wheel because as they've increased their money, they've increased their expenses, but they've not been living better. It just looks better on the outside living in because, they have $100,000 coming in and 95 of it is being spent on just operations, right? And I've seen this so many parts again with people. But I subscribe to a different mentality where not having a bunch initially when I got out of prison, I had to fix my expenses and make sure I can pay my bills, and everything was about paying my bills. But the more money I started to make, I started to realize that, hey, I'm building myself a financial safety net. And with this extra money that I'm making, I can do what John's aunt has done, and I can take this money to make more money. And I can remember back to when I made my first, I made a couple $100,000 when I came out, and I was doing some speaking and, paid my taxes on it. And what I was left with after that, I said, man, I could take this money and go look cool because I'm Maurice Claret and go live in Dublin.
Which would be hard not to do, Mo, in your situation.
Let me go buy a nice vehicle. Let me go put, 50, 60, 70 grand on a house and keep up with the Joneses, or I can take this money and I can build companies, right? And from there, that money then can go get a house or go get a car and so on and so forth. But I had to subscribe to the delayed gratification program. And
True.
A lot of people, including Ashley at first, didn't understand it. It was like, man, what the fuck is this dude doing? He's investing to himself. He's making his money. He's running a business. He's not going to get a better car. He's not going to get a better house. And I invested in my daughter's education. My daughter's education is $26,000 a year.
That's
what I'm saying?
Good, Mo. So
and
cool.
but these are things. But my daughter, if I build a business the right way, I can't have my daughter be a fucking idiot and hand it to her.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So we're all playing a different game. You know what I'm saying? If I go out here and buy these cars, these depreciating assets, I'm wasting my fucking money. If I get into the race of me having to have the latest vehicle or the cool neighborhood, I then begin to run somebody else's race, and I'm living outside my means or outside of my program. But I think that people don't even have a program put together as what they're working. And I think a lot starts there, that if you knew what you was working and you knew what you was working for and where you were trying to go and what game that you were playing, a lot of your moves on the chessboard will start to make sense, right? So we're talking about building generational wealth. You can't have no fucking dumbass kids.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So if it's more important for you to look cool and put your kid in a public school, which I'm not dogging public schools, but I would rather have my kid have a private education to at least make sure that she would steward this companies that I'm trying to build the right way. These assets that I may have with rental properties and homes, these may not look sexy because I can't wear them on my wrist or wear them in my driveway, but these are assets that you're building for your family. This is me needing money when I'm John's aunt's age. You know what I'm saying? And it all comes down to what are you really playing for, and what game are you playing, and what are you doing? And if you can do that and live below your means, you can take these resources, whether you're working a second job, and that second job money is all put towards buying assets or investing into a business or rebuilding your credit and then taking a loan out to build business or to get in business. I think is some of like the greatest shit you can do. But one thing you should never do is with the increase in your finances, increase your living. Because one, you never build a personal reserve for yourself, because just like, in entrepreneurship, shit happens, bro.
All the
You know
time.
what I'm saying? You can get your ass handed to you.
It's going it's gonna happen over the course of your career. Shit. It's not shit happens. It's when is it shit gonna happen, and it's probably gonna happen 3 to 5 times or more.
But let's all agree to this: having a reserve softens that blow.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? But
Fucking right, it does.
A rainy day fund.
No, but I see like this. I know a guy right now who he increased his financial situation, and as his financial situation increased, his living situation increased, and so to the outside looking in, he's phenomenal. But he's put so much pressure on himself to maintain that, and so he got fired. Right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So he gets fired. So now there's not a situation that he can run to that gives that type of income that he was making, right? So now he's stuck in his decision making. His decision making is flawed because his fundamental decision making was, I have to look cool towards my peers, right? Maurice Claret doesn't have to look cool towards his peers because I feel like I'm me. You feel where I'm coming from? It's a fundamental way in difference in thinking that influences your financial decisions.
Right.
And his decisions are me looking cool. So now I have to be outside my means with spending for things and items and houses and stuff like that I really don't have the means to do, or it's not sustainable long term. And then you see this scramble like mentality because, okay, you can sustain that for 2 or 3 months, but we're talking about the long game, bro. We're talking about year after year after year after year. And it's not to say that he can't get back on a different track, but the core root of how to get there is for you to say, okay, I need to quit thinking about what my peers think about me if I don't have the latest shoes, clothes, or things.
Yep.
And I need to build a plan for myself and my life and my finances and where I want to be at down the road. And so that's just my little 2 cents on it. I don't know. I'll throw it back to you.
I think there was really none of this talk growing up for me. Like I watched my parents do what they did, but no one really obviously had a solution or understood what the hell was going on. And so I really, I think when I was 20, I was kind of starting my own business, and I have to figure these things out: overhead, liabilities, watching my finances real close because I'm taking on, I didn't take on a lot of debt to open up my gym, but just understanding paying the lease. I signed a 3-year lease, understanding my overhead to my expenses of investing into the business. And so I had a crash course right out the gate. And I started reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is really a real estate book, but it explains assets and liabilities.
Pretty clear too.
And literally like on the most layman terms. And I need it that way because I never had an education at any of that point. And so understanding, like, I think when I grew up as a kid, you think a car is an asset.
Yeah, you
ain't
sure
a fucking
do.
asset. It depreciates, right?
The opposite
and
of an asset.
It's the opposite. But average people don't know that. I really don't believe that.
No, they
Seriously,
don't.
even to this day.
They don't. No.
And so like understanding and
that's
watching.
fucking retarded.
I know, but that's the truth though. So seeing a financial flow of money with the Rich Dad Poor Dad book started to open in my eyes, even though I was forced to learn some of these things anyhow. Because of my business I was running at 20 years old, it just made everything more clear. So then I started to understand, if I'm about to take on this liability, let's call it a car, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm taking and choosing for that money to fly out of my pocket. That's never putting money back in my pocket, ever. No. You know what I'm saying? And very rarely does that ever work out, meaning where you made money on the car. It happened once to me. And so there's things in your life that you have to understand. But if you don't have that prior education, which wasn't taught in my household, I had to search out for it and find it, and then figure out what's my own comfort level of percentage of what's coming in, what's being saved, da 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 da.
So here's the biggest difference, Cory.
Go ahead, Mo.
No, so the biggest difference, and I want to explain this to people. The biggest difference is that you didn't make money and buy the car. You made money. You got into business.
Yes.
you bought assets, right? And those assets either have reoccurring income or that business has something, and the business is what allows you to buy the car.
Sure, exactly.
See, the normal person says, I make money, I spend it, right? Person who has a financial education says, hey, I make money, I invest it into assets or a business, and the revenue off of that then in turn buys these nice things. And that's the formula. So we go from get money, spend to get money, invest, let my investments grow. But that's a slower process.
Way slower.
You know what I'm saying? but
that's the process.
That's the process.
It's the only process.
It's the only process.
Right.
So
right.
go ahead,
So
John.
we're talking about stupid motherfuckers right now, right? I'm sorry. Like at the end of the day, there's all these cute equations. Learn how to fucking count. Learn how to fucking count. I learned how to count
Bring
real
it to him,
early.
Johnny. Bring it to him.
No. I'm making fucking $4,000 a month. I'm fucking stupid if I'm spending fucking $3,000 a month. Learn how to count, dipshits. Fucking learn how to fucking count and stop trying to be something you're fucking not. It's called counting. Counting. You learn this shit in 3rd fucking grade. Everyone knows what they're making every month. Everyone knows what they're making every 2 weeks. Do me a favor. Pull out your calculator. Count it. Hey, it's not hard. And then run that against what you're spending. And if you're spending any more than fucking 50% of it, if you need to, if you're living on minimum wage, I got you. But if you don't need to, if you're spending more than half of that shit, you're fucking stupid. At the end of the day, here's the deal. You can spend money or you can have peace of mind. Like what people are thinking, what's the flip side of this? The flip side of living below your means is peace of mind. And peace of mind is free of stress. It's free of anxiety. You wake up and you get to live the day. You get to experience the day, and you don't have 10,000 pounds on your shoulder. So if you want to go buy that BMW when you can't afford it, every day you wake up, it's going to be on your shoulders. And let me tell you, that feels exactly how it sounds. Like a BMW on your fucking shoulders. Or it is. Or you can just fucking live and not worry about other fucking people. And if someone has the audacity to say something to you about your possessions, all you need to do is look back at them and say, hey, I'm good. That's it. We don't need to explain things to people. We don't need to prove things to people. Spending money is a disease. It's a disease. Truly. Spending money you can't afford is a fucking disease. So learn how to count and understand peace of mind, which you can't look at on Instagram, which I can't show you of with a really shiny hood ornament like a car. Peace of mind is how we live happy. And there is no possession that trumps that.
Two things I want to weigh in. I know we got to wrap up here is I think the peace of mind, the money gives you the freedom. So when you operate with it right, that's why you can feel that way. The liabilities cause you the stress and bad decision making and short-term thinking. And that's what you have to stay away from. I think that there's, this is just a real problem right now. I mean, it's a real problem.
You know what I thought about?
Last one more thing, Mo, is that and most people that are listening right now probably don't know exactly what they spend every month. And that's what I had to do.
Calculator, dude. Calculator.
Exactly, is sit down and say, what do I actually spend all the way down to your groceries? What do I actually spend each month? And I think that'll be a reality check for a lot of people. Go ahead, Mo.
Yeah, I just thought about it, man. Just think about, like, it's almost like clown shit, or how to call it. That's the only way you can call it, right?
It is.
Dude.
You get up every day and you go to get possessions and items that you can't afford, only to have to get up and slave to keep up this costume that you're getting put on and this clown car that you have to put on to get in front of people to look cool. That their opinion is only around you based upon what you have or what you have on. And like, if you can just replay that, I know I said it in a very sloppy way, but if you could just replay that, just think like, I'm getting up to put on cool clothes that I think are cool, and I'm going to.
I like the
live
clown
inside
reference because I thought of Bozo Buckets. If you guys remember the Bozo show, yeah,
I remember that,
brother. It's really clown shit. You know what I'm saying? And so I got to put on these cool clothes and drive these cars to fit into this neighborhood or to this reality of people who don't give a shit about me. And if I lost it all, who wouldn't help me get $1 back? And that's some of the realest shit that you can just take a look at. And I thank God for prison. I thank God for that level of humility where I got out of things and I'm not a thing person anymore. But it was the greatest shit to happen to me. But living below your means, like what John said, gives you the fucking peace of mind to have a couple dollars in your pocket. And I tell you, one of the best parts about it, it makes it easier to eat anywhere you want to all the time.
Especially when you eat as much as Mo.
Yeah, so
you can afford to eat anywhere when you spend $90 just for yourself.
But I don't spend any money.
This fucking guy. I love it. Johnny, you got anything else you want to add, or are we good to wrap it up?
No, man. I just think I think we need to be hard on if you're listening and you're like, so yeah, actually I do. I was in the elevator. This just popped in my head. I was in the elevator yesterday, and there's like two guys. There's a medical school around here that clearly are in medical school, and they're like, bro, I was on fucking BMW's website and I fucking like configured, because you can like configure a car however you want. I blacked it out, dude. I got like the matte paint. I got like the fucking strongest engine. It was like 148 grand. And I'm like, dude, once I can fucking afford this, first purchase, bro. And his friend was like, oh, that's sick. And I wanted to like slap both of them and be like, you're both fucking faggots. But I didn't do that. Yeah.
Great ending, John.
Yeah. No, I'm cool with gay people though. It's all good. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
No worries. All right.
I'm good with them.
So,
yeah, they're cool.
It's brought to you by Robinhood. John, why don't you tell them about how good Robinhood is?
Robinhood is so good because we talk about this stupid spending of money, and Robinhood's whole business model is set up so you don't spend stupid money on commissions and trade fees. They're literally helping you with exactly what our main event was just about. They're helping you save the fucking nickel and diming that everyone else does. They ain't into that program. They're into building a big customer base program. So if you buy or sell stock, go to Robinhood, go to robinhood.com/biceps. You will get a free share of Apple, Ford, or Sprint, and you will never pay trading fees, and nowhere else is that true.
Download it right now. Download it right now. Download it right now. Make sure you subscribe to Business and Biceps. Don't just listen. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like, or make sure you follow our Instagram at Biz and Biceps, and send us some feedback on the show. We'd love to hear from you. And I guess without further ado, we got to finish it how we always do. Maurice Claret, Johnny Fosco, can the podcast be stopped? The podcast can't be stopped. There we go.